In my last video, I talked about how the song wasn't finished. However, since that video, I have actually mixed it fully, and it's now just waiting to be mastered. I do want to point out, in my last video, I said that the song was in G sharp. What I mean by that is in G sharp major. However, I'm using the relative minor of that scale, so the song's actually in F minor. Yeah, so there you go. My last video was a bit kind of like, I didn't really know what to say about a lot of the things, and I was a bit nervous in the way that I was like speaking and all that. So I'd kind of made loads of points that were a bit like everything was dead. I would say something and then it was like, and come on, elaborate. So it's probably going to be the same in this video, but like I said, with practice, I'll get better. I'm now going to take a drink because this video is apparently sponsored by water. Brilliant. Stay hydrated. Boom. Right, okay, so today we're going to be talking about this electric guitar here that plays out through the instrumental and the bridge section of the song. So if I play it, you can hear what it sounds like. I will need to see actually if all the effects are on. Brilliant, okay. So it sounds like this. And then you can see it changes here. Okay, so that's what we'll be looking at today. My last video I was talking about a lot of the electric guitars, the acoustic guitar, especially this bit up here, the harmonics up here, especially I was taking a look at, for instance this. But seeing as I've already spoken about that, I'm not going to be talking about it in this video. Okay, so this electric guitar here plays out in, if I show you the arrangement track, so the arrangement track here, you can see this is the second chorus. Let's get rid of that so you can see, and let's just zoom out a little bit more. So you can see intro, verse, verse. I got a little bridge thing coming into the first chorus, and then we've got the first chorus, then verse, verse, and then the second chorus, and then we've got the instrumental bit here, which is this electronic thing here, the electronic line here. What I've done is this chorus here this comes after this chorus here. This chorus is like the first chorus that we get. That is fully. It's got all of the electric guitar playing out. It's got the basses. It's got everything. For instance, if I just unhide all of my stuff, you can see the difference between the first chorus. Go away. Oh Christ! The difference between the first chorus over here. And the second chorus here is that we've got the electric guitars, the really distorted electric guitars playing out. We've got the bass down here, which we don't have over here. We haven't got the electric guitars in this chorus. We haven't got the bass over here. We haven't got these synths. We haven't got, I guess, this other glockenspiel sort of thing. Glockenspiel. We haven't got any of the higher harmonies over here. Etc. We've got loads of stuff, so it's really built up. It's a lot more busy. It's a lot more warm. It's a lot more thicker than the first chorus, for instance. And also it's actually double time as well, as in it's twice as long. So this first chorus, we have the lyrics and we have everything playing, but then it just goes back into some oohs. Whereas the second chorus here, we have everything playing, and then we have the next sort of block of lyrics apart from the oohs. And with this, I've added this. There we go. I've added this sort of like build-up thing on this guitar track. To kind of bring it back, because of this chorus is really busy. It's very like thick. It's very dramatic. It's got everything going for it. You know, it's very loud. it's very in your face and all that. So what I've done is I've basically got this sort of like riser sort of thing going on, but it's not a riser. It's all it is just a one of these that I've just stretched out and I reversed. So if I play it to you, you can hear that it kind of rises up into the next part of the song. So it sounds like this. And in context with the rest of the song, it sounds like this. Will I make things right? Darling, you don't have a choice. So it's just in the background there, that little rising. The reason I've added this riser sort of thing in is like, for one, it helps it flow into the next part of the song. Two, I didn't want it to be sort of, it like without this sort of riser, it would be more jagged. I think it would just go like sudden into the drop down, into the sort of laid back, stripped off sort of things. We have all the instruments playing out, and then in this instrumental bit, we only have like two or three really main instruments, which is this, and then the harpsichord and the organ, and then like some of the drums, really. So like 4, I guess. Whereas before we had like over 10 sort of things probably going on, and like swirling around and panned left and right, and everything was really like dramatic and huge, and so I needed something to kind of like bring it up into this drop down bit without it suddenly just like jagging straight down, and so I don't know, I needed something to help it glue, I guess. So what I did is, if I just show you, so this is the original, this is the reversed one. However, the original one is this one over here. So if I just play this, so what I did is I bounce these individually by pressing Control B. This brings up, you can bounce these regions in place. Okay, so you want to do it on the so I did it on the selected track. I wanted to leave the original one, so this means it would leave this here. If I said mute, it would mute this section that I've got highlighted. If I deleted it, it would delete it. So I muted it. I want to go on a new track, because you don't want to bounce over it. So I went on a new track, and then we want to bypass all the plugins. So that means you bypass every effect and everything that you've got on it. If you don't bypass that, that means all these plugins that will down the side over here in a minute, I'll show you, will be bounced with it. So you want to say bypass, and then you don't want to normalize. Normalize basically means it's gonna change the dynamics and change the volume of the region that you're bouncing to the point just before it clips. And clipping means basically the loudest. Clipping means it's over the threshold where it doesn't start getting distorted and all that. I'll talk about clipping in another way, in another video. So you want to click off for that one. You don't want to click automatic, whatever. So I did that. Anyway, so that's, I take another drink. So that's the section. And now what you can do is you can go in here. You can go in here, and then you can click on. So the first thing you click, if you click on these scissors, the first thing you get is this sort of thing. You're in the track window. If you go into File, go into Functions, go into Reverse down here. This is now reverse, and I can play it to you. There you go. So it sounds like. Okay. Without all the effects though, it would sound like this. There you go. Without all the effects, it would sound like this. Okay, so then what you can do is, let's just bring it over. Let's zoom out. Let's go over here. Let's zoom back in. Okay. Oh no, I've gone straight to the start. Don't want to do that. I pressed enter by accident. Right. Okay. Let's click on this. Right. Cool. So let's zoom back out, and then let's go over here. Right. So you can see if I just click on the colon button, it brings it to where the playhead is. This is the playhead here. You can see that this is a lot shorter. It's actually double. It's half. It's half as short, you know. So what I've done is with this and this one. So this one here is obviously this one. this section, but then I went and I did the same here, so I did the same here for this one. Anyway, so if you click on here, this is a flex time button. You can click on that, and then I've already spoken about flex time in another video, but basically what flex time does is it allows you to, or at least the flex anyway, it allows you to change the pitch or change the time or to change the structure or whatever of the signal that you're doing based on something called transient markers, which I will show you in a minute. So you can click on this one. So this button here, so this one up here shows you the flex for all the project. So you can see like if I just get rid of that, you can see these markers and all that, right? But then you want to actually apply flex to the actual track. So we do that, so that, and now you've got this. The automatic is slicing, meaning if I went and did that, you can see it's slicing it all apart. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to do that. So what you want to do is you want to go into polyphonic, which is what I chose. And now I'm able to stretch it out. For instance, I can now stretch it out as much as I want it to be. There you go. And it will now sound. And it will sound a lot different. I actually didn't use that though. What I did instead is I put it here. And I think I just stretched it to be. Oh, I don't know. What I did is I stretched it. Yeah, alright, I know, go away. Oh my god. Oh, I wish I could do this and talk at the same time. My god, it's really hard to do. Shit. Okay. Now I have to do like that. You can see I basically stretched it like that. What I did do is when I originally bounced it, I must have had some more. I must have had a larger file or something, or I must have bounced it more to have the sort of sound before as well. So if I play that, that sounds the same as pretty much this one over here. There you go. See, obviously I bounced more of the file to that's why there's like more stuff over there. Let's delete that and delete that thing. So that's what I did basically. And then, so that's how I got this sound to reverse into the next section. Brilliant. Okay, so the next thing is I panned the condenser microphone, my AKG 414. So the condenser microphone is just like a couple feet away from the amp. It's because it's a condenser microphone, it's good at picking up the mids and the higher frequencies more than the dynamic microphone will be doing. The dynamic microphone is run quite hot, so the gain's quite high on it. It's really close to the amp. It's very good at picking up lower frequencies. In fact, I'm actually using a dynamic microphone to do this, like to do the narration and all that. You can hear my voice is quite low. You can hear all the sort of like the boomier sort of stuff. It's really quite deep. Whereas a condenser microphone has a sort of different feel with the way it processes stuff because it's I don't know, it's just made differently. Okay, so what I've done is I pan this one slightly to the left, and then the reason I've done that is because it just sounds different. There you go, that would do. So if I just loop this for you, and then if I just get rid of the panning, you can hear a difference. There you go, see? Ever so slight. And then back again. Okay, so the reason I've panned it to the left slightly is because with this take, I've got something called a stereo delay. And so what this is doing is it's actually delaying it slightly on the right hand side as we progress throughout the take. So if I show you in the automation, which is this button up here, and if I just zoom over here, I can show you that that's the reverb. Where's this? There we go. Okay, so you can see that actually, if I play this, you'll see a delay, and you will hear delay throughout this. So this is the automation. So so the mix here is coming from 0, so nothing coming through, to 100% coming through, and it is being delayed by 1/8 note, and that's dotted, so it's like an 1/8 note and a half. So if I just play that now, you can hear it coming through, and it's only on the right hand side. Okay. So what this does is this works with the fact that this one's delayed on this one's panned on the left, and also when this happens, this section, this half, if I show you, the entire thing is split in two. So we've got this half here, and then this half. We've got this half here, and then we've got this half here. Right, so this half here, if I zoom back in, you can see that actually the condenser microphone is delayed. So but the entire actual signal is delayed slightly. So although it's panned left, it's also delayed. So it gives it more of a busier sort of. There's a lot more stuff going on. So if I play this entire thing, hopefully you'll be able to hear how it evolves and how it all it kind of buzzes around the sort of stereo field. So if I just play that for you now. So you can see it's all really it's jumping left and right quite a bit with the delay. And then you bring that delay back in for the automation on this one, on the right hand side. Okay, so the next thing that I did is, after I've done all this, I applied my EQ. So here, I've applied an EQ to the dynamic microphone. In fact, so I can never get it right, literally. I'm always going to get it wrong. I'm always going to call this a bloody dynamic and this one a condenser. So this is the dynamic microphone, the one that's really close to the amp. I've taken the lower frequencies down quite a bit, because although I wanted it to be quite warm, quite vintage, quite sounding, I still wanted it to be it plays out for the instrumental and then the bridge bit. So if I just kind of kept this sort of stuff, these lower frequencies in, then there was a chance where it would be too clashing with the bass sort of stuff. I've got an electronic bass that comes in, or a synth bass actually that comes in later on, and then I've also got my vocals coming over top. So I didn't particularly want it to be clashing a lot. So I've taken quite a bit of down. I've got this high pass filter here up to 48 Hertz, and then I haven't got a low shelf, but although on the condenser dynamic, that's the dynamic microphone. This is condenser. I'm always getting it wrong. I apologise. I've taken the lower shelf down here. I've taken the lower shelf down here to about 196 Hertz, and that's taken down by 4 decibels. So what this does is it basically reduces the chance of all the lower frequencies sort of clashing with the organ that I've got here and the harpsichord that plays throughout the song, and then I've got this bass that comes in later on. If I played this bass, you can hear that it's very deep with it. So if I play that, it's really, I've got look over here. I've got a sub bass, I've got an overdrive, I've got it's not working. I don't know. I've got all this stuff going on with it, and it's really, and it has loads of lower frequencies. So I didn't particularly want to have this electric guitar here, kind of get in the way of all that sort of stuff. I wanted to be. So I wanted everything to have its own place, so I've EQ'd them slightly differently. So this condenser microphone, I have taken quite a lot more of the lower frequencies out. The reason being is because, like I said, a condenser microphone is nicer for recording these sort of the higher frequencies and sort of the middle section over here. So I've actually boosted a lot of the higher frequencies here because I kind of wanted it to have that sort of telephone vibe, that sort of vintage, sort of like old crackling vinyl, sort of like that sort of feel to it. So I've taken quite a lot of the higher frequencies up in that way. So if I just play it again, you can hear it's quite, it's not tinny, but the frequencies are a lot more higher than any of the other guitar that we've got playing on. Okay, then with the reverb over here, I've got this chroma reverb that's playing out through the dynamic microphone. So I don't like using any of the like factory preset sort of things going on over here. For instance, I could have just put like, you know, drum chamber in or something, or piano chamber, or I could have gone on here and said, oh, that one sounds nice, I'll just click that one, or an amp room, you know, because it's a guitar. So although sometimes like reverbs or not so much EQ and compression, I wouldn't really use presets with that sort of things, but sometimes reverbs sound okay with some of these presets that they work alright. But I try and shape my sound as uniquely as possible. But like I said, sometimes some of these presets do work fine. Or what I would do is I would click on one of these originally and then be like, oh, okay, that's fine, and then I will change it to how I want it to sound. So I would change it a lot to the point where it's probably not really the same at all. So with this reverb, I have got it playing at 1.6 seconds, and then like I said, I've EQ'd the actual reverb to fit the sound in itself. So not only is the signal EQ'd, but the actual reverb itself is also EQ'd on top of that. I've set the quality of the reverb to ultra high, and the width is quite, it's really wide. It's 150% wide. It's really spatial. So if I play that on top, this is what it sounds like. And then without the reverb, you can hear that. You can hear it's so different. It gives it a lot more space. And then with the condenser microphone on top, it sounds like this. Okay. So the next thing is I put both of these into a summing track. And so a summing track is basically a track that you can put other single tracks into, and then anything you put on that summing track, you're able to, or any effects that you put on that summing track will affect both of them in the same way, in the same like place, etc., etc. So for instance, I use this pedal board here, and I'll go through each of them. So let's turn them off. Okay. So if I play it, this is what it sounds like. I'll turn the distortion on. Oh, sorry. Okay, apparently I didn't actually have the distortion on, I guess. That's alright. Okay, I don't know why I've got it there then, and what's the point, you know? Okay, so actually, that's brilliant. Okay, so actually, the only thing that's actually I've got on this pedal board that's going through both of these tracks is the chorus and the phase. So if I just press it with the chorus, it sounds like this. And if I turn the chorus off, and back on, it's really subtle. It is there, but it's a really subtle difference. I've got a thing about making really subtle differences in my music. I feel like having too much of a chorus is gonna change it too much. Like, what's the point in mixing this really, you know, accurately when I'm just going to blast, like, I don't know, a distortion over the top, or I'm going to blast something else over the top. So I don't see the point in having, I always use stuff quite subtly. So then really the main thing on this pedal board is this phase here. It's the Logic Phase Tripper, which is this one here. A lot of these pedals are actually pretty good, to be honest. I do have a lot more in my contact stuff. For instance, I just went down here and you can see I've got Oh, okay. Oh, I know. Oh, I can't be asked to set that up. Anyway, I do have a lot more of this sort of thing in another like application, sort of like the pedal board thing, in my contact stuff, which I don't really use as much as I should do because I find these are equally fine, to be honest. So yeah, this is a phase tripper pedal, and it sounds like this. You'll hear it sounds completely different now when I turn this phase on. So I'm going to play it without the phase tripper. And then as soon as I turn this on, it's going to sound a lot different. And it's like swirling around your head. It's very like, you know, it's I don't know, it's really, really like, I guess, psychedelic in a way. Okay, so if I play that over with the delay, it's going to sound like this. See, it's really really swirly, and it's really like, I guess it's busy. I guess I don't know. I don't know. It's just like really like sort of like really, I don't know. Swirly is probably the best thing that I can explain that with. So that's that. That's the pedal board, and then we've got a bandpass filter. So a bandpass filter basically lets you designate a certain area of the frequency spectrum, and will only allow the signal to go through that area. So what you can do is, if I turn it off, you can hear this is what it sounds like with everything. But then as soon as I turn it on, it's a lot more warm. And people may say, "Oh, what's the point in EQing all this, you know, and EQing all this when you're just going to destroy it with a bandpass filter?" But the thing is, if I didn't EQ all of that, you would still have all this sort of like low rumble, I guess, over here, or you'd still have all this sort of like rumble again over here, which would still come through with this. The EQ that you do here is being sent through this. So everything that you do, any little thing over here is going to change the way it's processing through this filter. So if I play this, what you can do is you can actually turn it all the way down here, and now it's going to be a lot more boomier. It's going to be a lot more subbier, the sub bass. So if I play that now, you can hear it's a lot more. It's quieter because all of this stuff has been turned down over here. But then if I raise the bandpass filter all the way up, so this is the frequency spectrum. So that's what it sounded like before. And that's what it sounds like without it. Okay. The reason I wanted this is because I still wanted it to have that sort of thing. I still wanted to have that feel of it being in the background still. Although everything else is going on with it, you know, you've got this harpsichord playing out, you've got this organ playing out, you've got the drums playing out on top as well. Everything's having a blast, but I still wanted this to be kind of at the front, but also, I don't know, in the middle sort of thing. I wanted it to be something that you would notice panning left and right and be like, oh, I can, you know, I don't know, something. A lot of the sounds in this song is the sort of thing where every time you hear this song, or every time you listen to this song, you can focus on something different, or there's something different going on that you didn't hear before. So I try and make sounds really organic and really original and really like a lot different than, I don't know, other stuff that I've done on another song on the album or something. Or if you know, after this song, if there's another song on the album, there would be loads of techniques and loads of different sounds that sound completely different than the song before. And then what I've done here is so the phase is kind of helping it swirl around your head, but I've also got this plugin which is helping. It's called, I don't know why I've called it left or right 2, but whatever, named that. So what this does is, if I play that without, play it with it, you can hear it kind of helps that phase to make it that sort of swirling around you sort of feel. And what this is doing, let's just put it on that there. My God, it's a bit slow today. Okay, so what that's doing is it is basically panning the entire signal, so both of these, because obviously it's on a summing track, so it's panning both of these to the hard left over here. So this is right in your left ear, and then it's coming back slightly to the right, and then back to the left, and then hard right, and then it's to the center again, and then as soon as it comes over here, it starts again. And this is being processed through 3 bars. 3 bars, brilliant. Imagine that. 3 bars, sorry. So so for instance here it's going to 115, 116, 117, and then as soon as it hits here, it's starting again, or it's back to where it was at 115. And I've also got the mix 100%, so the entire signal is going through that. And then finally I've just got compression on top. And I spoke about compression in the last video, although what I did say in my last video is that I was going to go away and actually research about the knee, because although I did know what the knee was, it was hard for me to explain it, because there's a thing on every single one of these plugins that is like hard for me to explain. For instance, if we went to a multipressor, kind of works like a compressor, but I would probably have, I don't know, actually, that's a bad example. I don't know. Linear EQ, that's probably something. No, de-esser. No, it'd be hard for me to explain what the range, what this is, or etc., all the other stuff. So what I've done is I've actually researched what the knee is, so I'm able to tell you what it is in a better way of me kind of just like stumbling through my words. So, the knee basically is the curved transition, hence why it's called the knee, between the fully uncompressed sound and the compressed sound itself. So, for instance, if I had a really light knee, this is good for I guess sometimes acoustic guitar. It's very good for vocals. If I had a knee that's quite light, because it's kind of really soft, it's not gonna be like straight, doing it straight away. Whereas if you push it back to a really hard knee, this is good for kind of kick drums or good for snares and all that. The knee kind of works as an attack, in a way that it will go from like totally uncompressed to suddenly compressed all the way. And then the attack is basically kind of the same, really, but it's the attack is how fast it comes fully compressed. So although the knee is basically talking about how the transition between the completely uncompressed to compressed. The attack is how fast it becomes fully compressed. So, for instance, if you had a sharp knee but a really long tag, it would, as soon as the signal starts playing, it would become compressed. However, it would take longer for it to become fully compressed when you have a really long attack. Let's just undo that. And then the release is basically the same thing, but the other way around. So as long as you stop, as soon as you stop the peak here. So this is the peak here, and then there's another peak here, right? The release is basically how long it takes for it to settle down, or how long it takes for it to like go back to a level where it's kind of like appropriate throughout the rest of the signal. There you go. Nice. Okay. And that, I believe, concludes our second video. In the next video, I will be oh my god, I wish I could do 2 things at once. I can't. It's really hard for me to talk and like do all this, at the same time. Let's just zoom out. So in the next video, I'm probably going to be talking about maybe the harpsichord that's playing throughout here. If I play this here and show the automation, I'm going to be probably talking about all these lines over here and all that. That's all pretty fun. Or I might be talking about the drums, or maybe the glitches that I want to get into, or the way that I've processed some of these effects. Saying that, I bet you, a lot of the time I'm saying, oh, I'll do this, and then in the next video it'll be something completely different. It'll probably like vocals or something. I don't know, but at least I've done what I've wanted to talk about today, which is this electric guitar, and how I've done that. Cool, nice. Anyway, I'm going to keep this video short because I feel like my first video, an hour long, is a bit too long. So I'm going to try and aim for about 30 to 40 minutes on each video. And hope you like it. Nice one. Thank you. And goodbye.